Howdy, cowboys and cowgirls. I'm Cowboy Jack, and today, oh man, my truck's having a little bit of trouble, so I need a tow. Have you guys ever seen a tow truck before? We're gonna get to see a lot of them today. I'm really excited. We're here with Milstead Automotive in Spring, Texas, and we're gonna get to see their regular tow trucks, like a flatbed, and we're gonna get to see something really cool in a minute, something really, really big. But right now, look at my poor truck. He's kind of sad. He needs a tow, like I said. Come on, let's go over here and watch him pick up my truck. Come on, guys. Wow, so this is the tow truck. So you're actually gonna lift my truck up?
Yeah.
That's so cool. So how do you do it?
Well, first you get the bed back.
Whoa, see that? He's putting the bed backwards.
Lift up and try to go right there at the tires.
He's putting it down. Whoa. Wow, that's really cool. Hey, could I take a look over here real quick?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, come on, look at this. See, look here on the tow truck. You see all that motion that just happened? That's powered by hydraulics. Hydraulics are really cool. We've talked about them before, but what it is it uses hydraulic fluid, and it's a series of pumps and movement to use compression to make things move. So this right here is a hydraulic cylinder, and they pump that full of fluid or let the fluid out, determining which way they want it to move. It's got all these big hoses. Look at all this crazy equipment underneath the tow truck. That's really cool. Well, it looks like he's fixing to use some chains to get my truck up on the flatbed. Let's go check it out. I'm glad Steve is here to help us. He's a professional. I wouldn't know what I was doing here. This looks like a lot of hard work. Hey, did you guys notice those big lights up on the tow truck? Wow, those are really cool. They kind of look like police lights, but they're tow truck lights. And whenever you see those flashing, you know something's probably happened, and you probably ought to move out of the way so the tow truck can go and help whoever's having an issue. Look at that. So now that he's got my truck all hooked up, he's using this big winch. See that winch? So that's a cable that has hydraulic or electric power behind it to actually lift up my truck. All right, now see that cable is doing its job, and it's pulling my truck up onto the flatbed. That's really cool. I bet that winch is really, really strong to make this truck move like that. My truck looks a little bit dirty. I think I need to take it back to Buc-ee's to get another car wash. See, now that he's got it all the way up on the tow truck, he put my car back in park so that he can raise it up and it's not gonna move anywhere. Wow, so those straps are gonna make sure the truck doesn't go anywhere?
Yep.
That is so cool. I bet those straps are really strong. Hey guys, if you look, remember how we talked about that cable and the winch pulling my truck up? If you look right there, you can see it's hooked up underneath my truck, and it's actually holding it in place right now until he gets those other straps put on. Oh, look at that. Those straps are ratcheting down and getting real tight to make sure my truck doesn't move. And he knows all these really cool knots. I don't know those knots. He looks like he's even better than a Boy Scout at keeping these in place so they don't go anywhere. But see, my wheel is completely secured with these straps. They're on really, really tight. Steve is over there strapping up my other tire too. Look at the cab of this tow truck. The cab of this tow truck is really cool. I mean, of course it's got their logo on it, Milstead Automotive, because that's where we are today. It's really cool. But do you see what colors it is? I see white and red. So when you get your car towed, you can't ride in your car anymore. You have to ride somewhere else. So you would actually get in the truck with the tow truck driver, and you would ride in there just like a normal vehicle. See? They keep it really clean and nice for you, and it's just like a normal truck, except it's got these big old steps on it. Wow, I feel like I'm up really, really tall. Wait a second, he's moving the truck around. Wow, look at that. That is so neat. My truck's getting lifted right up onto there. That was so cool. So thanks to those hydraulics and all the systems and tools that this truck has, my truck went from being on the ground to up on this flatbed in no time flat. That was so cool to watch. Wow, hey, come over here. Look, these are all the different levers that Steve used to raise up my truck and move it around. I am not going to touch them because I'm not a trained professional, but these are his tools and these are what he uses to do his job. This is important. Tow trucks keep a fire extinguisher on board. Although they're not firemen and the firemen will be on their way as quick as they can, they could act quickly with a small fire extinguisher to do what they can and prevent a bigger fire from happening. It's real important, and that's another safety feature of the tow truck. Always have a fire extinguisher handy. Oh look, now that it's up on the flatbed all the way, Steve's gonna go ahead and strap in the back tires too. We don't know how far we have to go until we get to the shop where it needs to be fixed. We might have to go to a tire shop, a body shop, a paint and body shop. There's all kinds of different shops, so you don't know how far it's gonna have to be towed. And that's why you have to make sure it's really secure on there and it's not gonna go anywhere. It's strapped down really, really tight. There he goes again with that fancy knot. Wow, that looks like a neat knot. Look how high up in the air my truck is. It's really, really tall up there. Can you still see my logo up there? Oh, it's a reach. But it is so high off the ground and it's completely strapped in and ready to go. So we're ready to be towed wherever we need to go thanks to this awesome tow truck. Wow, and look on the other side, there's another fire extinguisher and another set of controls right over there. Remember those controls that we looked at that work all of the hydraulics on the truck? They have them on both sides because you never know what side of the road you might be on, and it's good to have access from both sides. And all of these trucks have a lot of reflective tape on them. You don't know if you're going to be doing work in the daytime or at night. So at night, this reflective tape would reflect the headlights off of cars. And that's really cool because that way everybody can see them and it's really obvious what's going on. Hey, somebody's getting towed and we need to watch out. They also have, this is where they would keep all their different chains and hooks. And this is a big, strong metal hook. And they use this to clip onto underneath cars sometimes. Let's take a look at what the driver has to see when he's driving the tow truck. That's a big, important job, but I bet it looks a lot like a regular car with some extra stuff in it. Let's find out for ourselves. So yeah, it looks like a normal truck, but he's got some other additional items too. This controls the lights on the truck. And then down here, he's got all these different radios. They use all those different radios to listen to different scans and things like that, so they can make sure if there's an accident nearby, they can get there really quickly. Wow, that was cool. I've never seen the inside of a tow truck before. That was really nice of them to let us check it out. All right, guys, well, now that my truck's back on the ground, look, the Cowboy Jack is still smiling. Well, since it's up here kind of at an angle, we can go ahead and drive it out of here. So I'm gonna get in and take off, okay? It's kind of different getting in it at this angle. Can you guys see me up here? This is really neat. I mean, it looks a lot different because I'm at a very strange angle, but I'm gonna slowly back my truck down off of this incline. All right, I am off and all the way. You guys wanna get in with me real quick? We're gonna go on a small adventure, come on. All right, cowboys and cowgirls, we got something completely different to look at. Do you see what this is? This is a huge tow truck. I mean, this thing is not a normal tow truck. It's got huge tires and it's even got a crane on the back of it. Look at that big boom. This is no average tow truck. So what this is actually called is a recovery tow truck. They use it to recover vehicles that have fallen into a strange spot and a normal tow truck can't get to it. So if you think about like a truck fell down into a ditch and a tow truck can't get it, they would bring this in and operate this big boom to go ahead and pull it out of there. And we're gonna get to see some of that in just a minute because guys, they're gonna actually use the boom to pick up this old forklift for us. It's gonna be really exciting to see. This truck has so many different components on it and compartments for everything. Like this right here, it's like a remote control system, and this remote control controls all of this right here. So they can do all of this by these joysticks. Or my buddy Chris also has a handheld version of this that he can use too. That's really neat. Anyways, there's a lot of compartments and we'll look at some of that later, but I wanted to show you guys in the cab because come here. I mean, look at this thing. From the front, it looks like just a normal 18-wheeler, right? But it is far from normal. And I've never been inside the cab of a recovery tow truck before. Have you? No, but they said we could take a peek. Come on, let's go. Look at that, the door handle's right here at eye level almost with me. Wow, it's got a big, big door. I'm gonna climb up in there. Wow. Do I look like I'm up really, really high? It's because I am. It's really high up here. Wow, you guys want to come in here with me and take a look? Check this out, guys. So it's got a normal steering wheel in it, just like every car, but it's also got all these different switches. I don't even know what any of those do. And the gear shifter looks really complicated. They've got radios up here, scanners, and it's got a back seat big enough for you to take a nap in. That's really cool. Wow, all right, well, I'm gonna go back down. So when you're getting out of a vehicle this large, you have to have a safety handrail. I mean, I've got some steps I gotta go down, right? All right. Wow. All right, well now let's watch my buddy Chris as he picks up that forklift. It's gonna be so cool. Chris is using that big remote again, and he's lifting up these chains a little bit right now. That's really cool. This is all done by remote control. Guys, look, so what Chris did is he used the remote control to move the boom and those chains exactly where he wanted them. And now he's unhooking them and he's hooking them back up on this old forklift that we're gonna raise up with this big, big tow truck. That's so neat. All right, guys, look right here. This is just like the remote control that you would have on a video game, like Nintendo or something. But this isn't controlling a video game, it's controlling that big boom up there. Wow! Right over here, it's got all these different storage compartments. This is where they store extra shackles, like Chris is using on those chains right now. These go on chains and hold things, they use those to lift things up. And then all these different devices and pulley systems that they can use. Wow, and look down there. Remember when Chris dropped those support beams down? It came down out of the truck, and that's what you can see underneath there. All done by hydraulics, of course. But look, just like we had on the other side, this big remote control that controls the boom, and he's doing it with the handheld controller too. Wow. In this storage compartment, they even have an extra light bar. So if they towed something that didn't have working lights on it, they would put that on the back of it and turn those on, and that way everybody can see what they're towing safely and know to stay back and out of the way. It's really important. Wow. Look at this. Guys, do you want to count the wheels with me? This thing has a whole lot of wheels on it. Let's go ahead and count them. I know it's loud because we're right next to the motor, but let's just count them real quick. So this is 1, 2, let me come around the support. There's 3. Here's wheel number 4, and one behind it, wheel number 5. And then wheel number 6, and another one back behind it, wheel number 7. So altogether, that's 7 wheels on this side. It's the same on the other side, so what's 7 times 2? That's big math, but 7 times 2 is 14. So this isn't an 18-wheeler, it's a 14-wheeler. All right, guys, you ready to see him lift this thing up? I'm really excited about it. All right, well, so you're gonna use the remote control to lift it up?
Yeah.
That is so cool. Let's stand back and make sure that we're safe. Wow, you guys see it coming up off of the ground? Wow, that is really neat. I mean, that thing was just on the ground and now here it is up in the air. All thanks to that big boom on the truck.
Now we're gonna put it around your side.
Oh wow, did you hear that? He's gonna rotate it around towards us. That is so neat. You can see the boom rotating over there and the forklift is moving around towards us. Wow, this is so impressive. That is so huge and so big. And it's picking it up like no big deal at all. That's so cool. Wow, that forklift, you know, the forklift looks a little old and tired, right? It's seen its better days, and it's just sitting out here probably waiting to go to a scrapyard. But look how long those forks are. It's got really long forks. That's not a normal forklift. This is an industrial-sized, huge forklift, and they've picked it up with no problem with this big recovery tow truck. That is so neat. My goodness. I mean, I wish you guys could get a feel for how big this thing is. I mean, look at Cowboy Jack. I'm about 6 feet tall with my boots on, right? This thing is huge. Even if it wasn't up in the air, it's really big. Looks like it's about time to put it back in its own place. All of this action, and it's all done by remote control. So, you know, we use the remote controls for a lot of different things. The garage door opener, video games, we use controls for that. We also use remotes for the TV, changing the channel, right? But they also use remotes for things like tow trucks. I had no idea. That is so, so neat. Looks like he's just about to set her back down on the ground. All right, guys, it looks like it's all the way back down on the ground. Wasn't that cool? It was no problem at all for this big recovery tow truck to lift that thing up. If they come to a site where there's a car that's down in a ditch, they could use this same boom to pull it out of the ditch with no problem at all. If it can lift that big old machine, it can lift a car with no problem whatsoever. Wow. This thing is so neat. And look, I mean, whenever these supports are down, there's not a single wheel on the truck that's actually touching the ground. They're all lifted up, and everything is supported by these big counterbalances. And look, there's all these compartments on the truck. I mean, there's all kinds of tools that you need to do the job, right? So if you look inside the compartments, they've got all kinds of different gear. Like this one has different forks you use to pick up different trucks. And look, they have flashing lights even in the door right here. They have flashing lights everywhere. That's a really bright light. This truck is so, so neat. I mean, all these different compartments and things. Oh, look, this one has mat jacks in it. What these are is inflatable mats, and you would hook an air hose up to them and slide it under something you need to lift up. And then when you inflate it, it lifts it up off the ground so you can get other lifting equipment up underneath it. They're really cool. Wow. And all of these compartments that we already talked about, and the controller system, and he's got the remote control in his hands. This truck is so, so cool. There's so much to it. Wow. All right, cowboys and cowgirls. Wow, we've had an adventure today. I hope you've had a great time, because I know I've had a blast. My truck got towed for just a little bit, and then also we got to check out this ginormous recovery tow truck and even see it lift up a forklift. That's so cool. I want to say a special thanks to our buddies at Milstead Automotive here in Spring, Texas for giving us their time and letting us come and check out this big equipment that we wouldn't normally get to see. It's been so fun. So anyways, go ahead and click subscribe to Cowboy Jack on YouTube. Make sure you see all of our upcoming adventures, because we've got some good ones coming. And until next time, yeah!